Dahlia is a reminder that hurricane season is not over.
Yeah, the peak of hurricane season isn't until September 10th. And as Sabrina Wilson reports, Louisiana remains in the grips of a stubborn insurance crisis.
Hurricane Idalia made landfall in Florida as a powerful Cat 3 storm, and there's plenty of hurricane season to go. Still, Louisiana's property insurance market remains in a crisis.
It's very shaky.
The only thing I can say is be prepared. The prices, let's just use St. Tammany, for example. Let's just use on an average, okay? The premiums were $2,000. Now, $250,000 house in St. Tammany Parish, roughly $6,000 to $7,000 a premium. So people they're in a panic.
Louisiana provided millions in grants to insurers to incentivize them to write additional wind and hail policies. But it's not happening to the extent many South Louisiana residents and insurance agents hoped. Dan Burkhart owns an insurance agency bearing his name.
Naturally, why does these carriers that got incentives were looking at hurricane season, because the timing of this was right before hurricane season. So $45 million was handed out, and companies decided that they would take the highest risk areas and postpone underwriting suicide, so to speak. Why write in areas that are more riskier? So what they're doing is just waiting until after hurricane season.
Ross Fayard owns Amstate Insurance Agency in Slidell.
We get phone calls all the time saying, like, we heard on the news or we heard here or on social media that all these companies are writing, they say participating in the incentive program. Sabrina, I talked to you back maybe 6-7 months ago. We're in the same state as we are back then.
Some companies have already reached capacity in Jefferson and Orleans. So the incentive money would give them the opportunity to write a little bit more.
Fayard says Hurricane Ian slammed parts of Florida last year and had an impact on Louisiana's insurance landscape.
Even though we were not impacted physically in Louisiana, we were impacted financially because that definitely put a big old dent into the reinsurance.
And insurance brokers say companies that are writing new policies in this area are definitely being more selective. They're more inclined to write coverage on places that have new roofs.
So the better the condition, the more the updates, probably the better chance we'll be able to get them a decent rate right now. You know, it's not going to be, you know, as it used to be 2-3 years ago, but it's at least available.
Now, the Louisiana Department of Insurance said through the end of May, 17,000 new policies had been written by insurers who received state grants. A spokesperson says updated information is expected later this week. Meg?